Formula Sun Grand Prix 2024. We have a number of more vehicles on the track since you joined us this morning. So we are going to see some of them coming around right now. Car you see in pit lane on the right is number 12, Texas A&M. They've been out doing laps. It looks like maybe they're making a tweak on their car or perhaps doing a driver swap, but hopefully we'll see them back on the track momentarily. We also have a number of teams who are wrapping up dynamic scrutineering and should be out on the track tomorrow morning. So we're hopeful to have a good number of cars tomorrow. We can see two cars coming up the front straight now. That will be Principia in the white car. Oh, we got a third car actually right behind Principia. So Principia is on the far left of the track, and they're passing the orange car, which is the University of Virginia. And so we have the white car on the left is number 32 Principia. The car on the right there was number 17 Illinois State, and coming up third here is the University of Virginia, number 87. You may have heard the alarm sounding noise as the Illinois State team passed. That is actually their horn. And here on the track at Formula Sun Grand Prix, solar cars are required to honk their horn before and during a pass, just to help alert the other solar car driver that they are there. The solar cars can be a bit loud, and these aren't professional professional race car drivers. These are students. Maybe their first time ever driving on a track when they get here. So we make the passing procedure very explicit to help keep everybody's car on the track and avoid any incidents. You can see a number of more cars coming around the back of the track, so we'll see them up here on the front straight in a minute. But we can actually show you a map of this track. So the National Corvette Museum Motorsports Park opened in 2014. It's a 3.15 mile track. You can see at the bottom in the middle is the start line in the front straight, which is what we've been looking at. Track goes through a hairpin turn for turn one, not a hairpin turn, a chicane for turn one, and then it immediately follows into turn two and turn three. Turn three has actually been a tricky one for solar cars today. Had a number of cars run off the track or have otherwise trouble at that turn. It's a little bit deceiving as they go through turn two, and then turn three immediately follows and is much sharper just when they think they're done with turn one. After that, they go around back through a series of turns around some of these what looks like lakes on there, little ponds. There's a lot of elevation on here. In the upper right, you can see the inner part of that U at the upper right is what they call the sinkhole. So that actually has, on the way in, about a 40-foot drop and then immediately left turn climb out of there. That's also provided some challenges for teams. They have to make sure and get enough speed on the way down that they can make it all the way up. These solar cars are built for efficient driving, so they aren't always the most powerful vehicles. So we can actually show you some pictures aerial pictures of the track here. This picture is looking down the front straight from above. You can see in the upper part of the screen in the middle that dip known as the sinkhole. And then after the sinkhole, the teams wind their way back towards the track. And looking the other direction, on the front straight, you can see the chicane and then the other turns 1, 2, and 3. So we're actually going to get you some drone footage. Actually, we're going to go with the front straight first. We have two cars coming down the front straight here. We have the blue multi-occupant car is number 55, Poly Montreal. And they are running with both passengers in the car right now. And then number 79, Florida Poly, who just... So we have drone footage here of... So we're looking towards turn 2 and 3 in the back, and we have the University of Virginia car here on this inner turn, and that's Florida Poly and Poly Montreal on the back turn you saw. So University of Virginia is coming here. We'll see the front straight momentarily. So they're coming around the infield part of the track here. You're just seeing App State go through another completed lap on the front straight here. And now we will get you back to the drone footage, which is following two solar cars. So that'll be ETS at the bottom, and momentarily I believe there's a car right behind them. All right, so now you're looking at the coming back down the front straight, and that is that appears to be the Illinois State car we are following down the front straight. So here you're seeing Illinois State go around the rather tight turn 3. As I said before, this turn here, the series of turns here has been a bit of a challenge for teams. Had some teams going off the side of the track or otherwise having trouble. It sneaks up on you, comes pretty quickly after the front straight here. So the drivers are still getting used to that. They want to make sure their cars stay in good condition. They can get through all 3 days here. Cars aren't necessarily built to handle going off into the grass, which is what we've had a couple do today. All right, we found a couple solar cars on one of our cameras here. At the front straight, we have 35 Minnesota coming through on the left with 2 passengers in their car. And then right behind them is another one of their competitors in the multi-occupant vehicle class, and that is number 55, Poly Montreal. So they're both driving with 2 passengers right now. At the end of Formula Sun Grand Prix, multi-occupant vehicles aren't judged solely on laps. They are also judged on efficiency. So the scoring for one of them is that they must reach a minimum average speed on their entire event. Otherwise, their score will be derated. The second factor is the amount of external energy they use. So all of these teams have had their battery pack capacity recorded, and then during the event, if they choose to charge from the wall, outside of the hours, that is metered charging. So that will all go into their total energy used. Energy from the sun is free. It doesn't go into the equation anywhere. So if basically anything you can do from the sun is free as a MOV. And the last component is the completion factor, which is based on the number of miles you drive and the person miles you do. So if you have 2 people in your car, every mile counts as 2 person miles. And that is relative to the top team. So the top team gets a perfect completion factor, and the rest of them, it's based on how much they do out of the top teams. So there's our third MOV on the track right now. That's number 828, App State, also going with 2 people in their car. Over in the pit, you can see the number 9 car, which is Iowa State, and that is the 4th multi-occupant vehicle we've had on the track today.
To landing.
So there in front of you on the drone, you can see a solar car. I believe that's ETS coming up, and they are climbing out of the sinkhole there. So on the right, the low part is the sinkhole. Yep, so that's ETS and another car climbing up out of them. So we'll watch ETS after the sinkhole. The teams go through a couple of small turns, and then they make their way onto the front straight. The start of the front straight is a little bit of a downhill, so they can pick up some speed and get through the front straight here. ETS has been running pretty consistently all day. I believe they are leading their class with the most laps right now. We will see how fast this lap is. So that is a 5-minute and 9-second lap. And Illinois State is falling behind. They've been going pretty quick as well, so let's see how fast their lap was. Team 17, 6-minute and 5-second lap.
All right, coming in for landing.
So if you're wondering which teams have actually made on the track today, we have that going across the top of your screen now. We've seen a number of teams throughout the day. Most of them are out here now. So the leading team in the single occupant class is number 92 ETS. We also have number 32 Principia out there. Number 26 UBC. Number 5 Florida was out there earlier today. They've taken their car back to the garage to do some work on it. Number 17 Illinois State, we just saw out there. So they're on the track currently running laps. Number 7 Dalhousie has been on and off of the track today. So maybe we'll see them back here tonight. We got about 12 minutes left if they want to try and get some more laps. Number 2 Michigan has also taken their car back to the garage at this point. So I don't think we'll see them again tonight. as well as number 1 Purdue in a similar situation to Michigan. Number 12 Texas A&M, I believe just left the pit a few minutes ago and out on the track at this time, as well as number 79 Florida Poly, who is our last team to join the track today. Number 87 Virginia is coming up on the right now, so they're also out there. Then we have our MOV teams who are all out there or in the pit right now. Number 828 App State, number 35 Minnesota, who just passed by, number 55 Poly Montreal, and number 9 Iowa State. So those are all the teams we've seen out on the track today. We have a number of teams who are very close to getting out on the track tomorrow. Several of them have actually finished dynamics, which is great. And we'll be wrapping up a few other yellows before getting on the track for tomorrow. We have a few teams out at dynamics this evening trying to wrap up. Dynamics last chance will be open until sundown tonight. So all the teams are focusing on getting through dynamics, all the teams that are close, and then anything else they may have to wrap up, they'll handle after that. So that was 828 App State just passed by, and next will be Florida Poly. Over at the dynamics area, I can see Waterloo and MIT still working through dynamics. They are both partially through, so they either have slalom or braking left to do for some of their drivers, but some of them are through. They should also be fairly close at this point, if they haven't already, to qualifying for the American Solar Challenge. There is a minimum required lap count for teams to qualify for the American Solar Challenge. They have two options to qualify. They either have to do it in 1 day or in 2 days. So if they do 1 day, they must do 66 laps, which is 205 miles. If they do 2 consecutive days, they need to do 98 laps, which is 308 miles. Additionally, their drivers must qualify individually, and each driver needs to do 17 laps or 53 miles on the track in order to be able to drive at the American Solar Challenge. So some of these teams out here will probably get to that 66 laps today, specifically ETS, who is leading the single occupant class in laps, as well as App State, who's leading the multi-occupant vehicle in laps. Some of these teams are in pretty good spot, having done more than half of the 98 for 2 days, so they'll probably get through tomorrow to get cleared for the road. For a lot of the teams here, while FSGP is a competition, we do give out a trophy. The main event is the American Solar Challenge, so qualifying is goal number 1, and if they're in a good spot, they'll go for it and go for the win. So I certainly would expect ETS to keep going the next 2 days and try and keep their lead position for a podium finish. So just about 8 minutes to the finish. The finish at the Formula Sun Grand Prix is not a to-the-minute finish. Solar cars do not have to cross the line exactly before 6 p.m. Any lap that starts before 6 p.m. will be allowed to finish, and it will count as long as it's within 20% of the length of their previous lap. So if they ran a 5-minute lap, they'd have to finish their last lap in 6 or fewer minutes. timer does not seem to be working, so I don't have an exact time for that lap. But if they can do a next lap in under 6.5 minutes, they can attempt one more if they can keep it about 6.5 minutes for their last lap. So we'll see what they decide to do here. Some of the faster teams have been running about 5-minute laps, so if we can get them in here in the next minute or so, they might be able to get 2 more in if that's what they're going for. Otherwise, we may see teams start pulling into the pit here at the end of the day if they don't think they can get 1 more lap in, so they don't want to waste the power on that.
Copy that. So you're saying Wisconsin vehicle is moving on their own, correct? So let us know if they pushed or whatever. I think it did.
Okay, so here we have App State coming through with 5 minutes left, and they just ran a 6-minute lap, so they'll probably go for 1 more lap. Minnesota also came through with the 7-minute lap, so if they get this lap in, they'll be allowed to finish after 6 p.m. as long as they don't go too much longer than 7 minutes on this lap. We got a couple of cars coming around the corner at the end of the straight fast. We got the ETS car coming.
Hang on a second. We'll do a yellow. White flag, right?
We have 4 cars coming here, so the University of Virginia has gone into pit, so I think that will be their last lap for the evening. ETS car is really flying here across the line. That was a 5-minute and 41-second lap, so they're going to go out for 1 more.
Who is he after?
We got 3 more cars, a little bit of a bottleneck here. Looks like Principia is at the back and really wants to get moving. So we got Florida Poly on the right side passing here. You can hear their team cheer. That was a 6:56 lap for them. Principia just came through with an 8-minute lap, and Ohio State with an 8-minute and 40-second lap. So each of them will get to go around, and as long as they keep their lap time relatively the same or faster, the lap will count if they finish after 6 p.m.
Well, if they're in front of you, let's keep the flag out before you, right? If they're right there in front of you. Once they get after you, then we can change things up. But for now, let's keep it at 6, I think. I couldn't hear you earlier. I was talking to timing, so I just said throw a flag, right? That's what was going on there.
Looks like they're moving off and they're passing corner 9 now.
Yeah, okay, copy that. So corner 6, you can drop your flag. Thanks, corner 8. So you're saying they're past corner 9?
Affirmative.
Yeah, very good. Corner 9, just keep an eye on them. Let us know what happens. If they're moving, no flag. If they're stopped, you can do a yellow.
Copy, thank you. They're moving still.
All right, just under 3 minutes left in the race day. We have the Illinois State car coming up the front straight here. We'll see what their lap time is and what time they need to maintain to get 1 more lap in.
Follow in when I'm not bothering people.
Copy that, rescue 1.
All right, that was a 6-minute and 49-second lap, so that's their time to maintain or beat for the next lap, at which point they will, or in which case they will count that lap even if it finishes after 6 p.m. So I'm watching to see some of the cars may turn into pit lane here. If they're trying to maintain a lap speed and they're worried they won't, they may come finish on the front straight because they can maintain their full speed on the front straight. Pit lane obviously has a speed limit because there are people walking around and not so much clearance around it. So we'll see what these teams decide to do. Some of these early ones may exit to the pit. Some of the other ones may cross the finish line and stop on the track to wait for the end of the day. All right, we got under a minute and a half left here, and I can see Poly Montreal coming up the front straights. Looks like they may go for one more lap. Let's see what their time is and what they have to beat or maintain. That was 5 minutes and 50 seconds. So if they make it in, and right at 1 minute left. So if they make it in by 6:04 and a half, they will have another valid lap right here at the end of the day. It's a little bit of strategic planning here for the teams to try to get that one extra lap in before the end of the day. After they finish here on the track, the solar cars are allowed evening charging until 8 p.m. tonight. So they'll head out for 2 hours of that, where they can take their solar car. They can tilt the array ideally towards the sun. Fortunately, we got some clouds here this evening, so they're not going to get the most sun, but 2 hours of sun to help get them ready for tomorrow. They also get 2 hours in the morning before the start of day 2 from 7 to 9. We'll get them some more juice in the pack in order to attempt day 2 at full speed. So here we are. We got just a couple seconds, and the checkered flag's going to wave. The checkered flag is waving. That means any lap that is in progress will be a team's last lap, and they will end their day here. So I have in the distance, we see App State and Minnesota, and one more car behind them are going to be coming into the pit lane on the right side. So their time will end when they exit the pit all the way here at the front, is my understanding. So they do need to get all the way up here in order for it to count under their own power. And then we got a few turns, a few teams back early in the track, and so they're trying to maintain their speed to get just that one last lap in.
Copy that.
Just don't let anybody hit back the opposite way, obviously.
The third car coming into the pit is number 92 ETS. So there'll be a third car coming in via the pit, and we'll see if we see a few cars who are just trying to maintain their time come in down the front straight, or if they all go into the pit here. So on the right side, you can see App State, followed immediately by Minnesota, and a little bit later behind them is ETS. And they're going to head over to the evening charging location where they can try and get some charging out of this late evening cloudy sun. So I can see Florida Poly also exiting the track via the pit lane. And I believe behind them is Wisconsin. However, Wisconsin is coming in with the rescue van. I think they had some issues on the track, which is why we didn't see them pass under us at any point. Off to the left of the screen, you may be able to just see the back of Poly Montreal as they go through this last lap, trying to keep their time. Okay, on the right side, you can see Florida Poly coming into the pit. The Wisconsin car appears to be under its own power, driving also into the pit. And then way back at pit entrance, I can see Principia also coming in via the pit. The pit entrance here does actually skip the sinkhole feature, so maybe some of these teams have decided that that's actually the easier way to get to the finish line. Not sure. Usually we have a few teams who are racing to try to beat their previous time. You know, maybe with a few minutes left, they decided, all right, we're going to speed up and try to get one more lap in. So they did do 2 really fast laps at the end of the day. It doesn't look like we have anyone quite doing that. Maybe Esteban. We will find out. So here comes Principia entering the pit, and Ohio State is way down there at pit entrance. as is another car that I am trying to make out in the distance. Illinois State and Poly Montreal have also decided to go through the pit entrance. So we're going to see all the cars going through the pit entrance here. So let's pivot over to look at that.
Are all of your cars off course?
Just about.
Copy. I'll just send rescue out to power down the scoreboard, and if you can help me right here.
So you can see the Principia car here exiting the pit. The next car into the track is, or into the pit is Ohio State, followed by Illinois State, and last car off the track today is car 55, Poly Montreal. So all these cars are heading over to evening charging. They'll spend 2 hours there charging from the sun, at which point their batteries will be locked. In the case of MOV cars, they are allowed to keep a port for charging from the wall open, but other than that, the cars are put in impound state so that they cannot charge overnight.
Pick up our corner workers, and then we'll be done.
Very good. Thank you all.
All right, are you ready to go?
Yes, I'm ready.
Copy that. I didn't know if you were in your van or not.
Yep, I'm locked and loose.
So there we are looking at the Illinois State car, number 17, the last car out of the pit here. So those were most of the cars on the track today. As I mentioned earlier, a few teams headed in early for various problems and are getting some work in on their car tonight. You can see in the distance is our dynamics pad. You can see that between the garages there.
Thank you guys. I got rescue.
We have a number of teams who are still working on getting on the track. You can see a car with its top open. That's the number 24 Waterloo car, which you saw yesterday evening during our slalom stream.
Absolutely.
But we have a number of teams who have been out at Dynamics today who are still working on Dynamics or who have wrapped up Dynamics and are working on finishing a few other yellows. So number 4 MIT is out there right now, as is UC Berkeley, number 6.
Make sure you pick up all your stuff, your flags.
Number 21 Virginia Tech, number 22 Illinois, number 24 Waterloo, number 406 Montana State, and number 608 University of Wisconsin. Well, actually, since we created this graphic at the start of the stream, Wisconsin actually did get on the track, so they are all through that. And number 786 Western Michigan, I did just see out there a few minutes ago. So all of those teams, if they can get Dynamics done today, and then they will have the opportunity to wrap up any static inspections tomorrow morning should they need to do that. But the main thing is they have to get Dynamics done today, and we should see them on the track tomorrow. There's a few other teams that haven't got to Dynamics yet who are fairly close, so they do have a couple of hours here if they can get the last couple of things wrapped up on their car that they need before Dynamics. As always, I want to remind you to follow along with all of the activities at the track. We are posting regularly on our Instagram page. You can find us at American Solar Challenge on Instagram. We have lots of story posts throughout the day with the latest updates, as well as posts of photos from the activities. You can also find similar content on our Facebook page, which is also American Solar Challenge. And of course, here on YouTube, where we're doing these live streams, we're going to continue doing live streams. We will try to give you as much heads up as possible. Today, we were watching to see how many cars would make it on the track. And we got a good number this evening, so we came to you with a live stream. We will also tomorrow do a live stream at some point, so keep an eye on YouTube. We will also cross-share the link to Facebook and Instagram, which is where a lot of you are finding this. But YouTube, if you subscribe, you can turn on notifications to get notified anytime we are live or anytime we schedule a live stream. We will be continuing to do live streams through the American Solar Challenge as much as possible, in addition to the Formula Sun Grand Prix. So watch for those. We will, of course, have the start line, the finish line, and then we will come to you from various points in between as the cars go from Nashville to Casper over the course of those 8 days. So you can see now the teams are tearing down the pit lane. You may have a few minutes ago seen a couple of vans head onto the track. Those vans are heading out to pick up all of our corner workers. Corner workers are an important part of the Formula Sun Grand Prix. At most of the corners on the track, we have a volunteer worker who are mostly volunteers who are team members. Occasionally we have volunteers such as our photographer from the staff or family and friends of the teams who want to go out and be corner workers for a unique opportunity. So the corner workers are out there. They're given a number of flags depending on which corner exactly they are, and they will wave flags to warn of any issues on the track. So, for example, a waving yellow flag means immediately ahead of you there's a hazard on the track. So you must slow down, you must go single file, no passing. And that has occasionally happened today when there's a car broken down on the track. Once they get the car pushed off to the side of the track, we also have a red flag, which indicates there's something really bad somewhere on the track and that all solar cars must stop. I don't recall ever seeing a red flag at any of these events I've been at due to a solar car incident. We have had things such as trespassers, dogs on the track, and those can lead to a red flag until that gets resolved. And lastly, of course, there's the checkered flag and the green flag, which wave at the start of the day and the end of the day. So that's what our corner workers do. They go out there for a couple of hours in shifts. And so the last ones who have been out there this evening are just getting picked up now. It serves as a really great photo opportunity for them and a really great vantage point for them to watch the track and the competition from a really unique view. So we will keep you updated on the team's progress at Dynamics to let you know which and how many teams you can expect to see on the track tomorrow, and we will come to you live with that. The official results from the end of today will be published momentarily this evening, so you can see the official lap counts for all the teams. The electronic timing system is not official results. There are penalty laps as well as laps where teams may have pushed or towed their cars that won't count. In addition, for a couple of the teams, the electronic timing system isn't working consistently, either due to their tracker placement or some other setup issue. So we will, we'll have them try to address that tonight. But our official timekeepers are doing that up in the timing building, and we'll get those results out to you as soon as possible. So you can also find live streams from the track. I am aware that today for a period they weren't working completely, but there are 2 live streams pointing down the front straight where you can see all the action all day. They run them from the morning through the evening. I know tonight they cut off a little bit before the end of the day, which is why we brought you our live stream to cover that. But for most of the day, for the entire day, the remaining 2 days, we will have those live streams available as well. You can find those on our website at the AmericanSolarChallenge.org. Navigate to our 2024 FSGP live page, and the URL is shown on your screen right now. So thank you for joining us this evening, and we will let you know when you can see us tomorrow. The solar cars take the track tomorrow from 9 to 5.